Okay. If you're just joining, we're just waiting on Dieter. He's a little under the weather. Hello. God damn it, dude. Why doesn't it notify? Alright. Oh, hi. Hello. Fuck. Welcome to hell. Episode fucking, what is it now? 35? It's not like, what season of hell are we on? Honestly. How long has this been going on? How worse is it going to get? Will it even get better? Who fucking knows? I don't see a fucking way out. Oh my god. How's everybody holding up? Another 7 minutes. Dieter's gonna come in. Say hi. Like Megan just did. Let's fucking go. What can I bring up in the meantime? God. What's this? Is this funny? Doing good. House passes no tax on tips. That's not all they passed. That is not even remotely close to all that they fucking passed. Oh my god.
My politics in 2016. I am a classical liberal. The government should restrain itself from violating our liberties. The war on drugs and foreign military involvement are unjust. We shall soon ascend from this foul binary system in no peace. My politics now. They have taken the bridge and the second hall. We have barred the gates, but cannot hold them for long.
All right.
The ground shakes. Drums in the deep. We cannot get out. A shadow moves in the dark.
All right. It's just a meme.
We cannot get out.
Hey everyone, me Kevin here. The stock market is falling, and in this video I'd like to...
I can't wait to figure out why. Well, actually, we all fucking should know why. Oh my god. Oh, I know. Yeah, I mean, I guess that'll help with my second job, though. Because for whatever fucking reason, my second job doesn't take enough taxes out for state, and I owe California like $1,700 fucking bucks. And it's happened 2 years in a row now, where it like caps out for whatever fucking reason. Like total for the year, overtime too. That's good. That's good. I mean, is that? I assume that's part of the $4.5 trillion in tax cuts that they're doing. That's obviously going to overwhelmingly benefit the ultra rich. That'll help the national debt. How are we going to pay for it? Why is nobody asking? How are we going to pay for it? But no, like on my W-2s from this year and last year, the total taken out from California taxes was fucking. It just capped out at $71.17 both times. I checked. We've been reforming tax laws during the year. Also randomly owe them. That's weird. Your company should have that like on lock or whatever the fuck. What the fuck, California? Well, Dieter is coming on in. More industry, more employment, and more tax. Trickle down economics does not work. It doesn't work. It is a lie. So that way the ultra wealthy can run away with more money, and it's like more industry, more employment, more, like what? Like it's a problem right now. Like what's stopping? Like taxes are too high, so like there's not more industry and more employment. I don't buy it. Like it's God, and then there's the Medicaid shit. Where my when is everyone going to benefit? Like, yeah. In fact, all right. Wages. Do. Where are we at? I guess we can use this fucking image. Give me a break. Just fucking open up the actual fucking image, dude. Hello? My God, I hate the way the fucking Google works. Fine, we'll do this. Fuck you. The wealthy haven't benefited yet. I hope you're. What does that mean? What does that mean? Yeah, this. Since Nixon, but more accurately Reagan, wages have stayed stagnant. The argument during Reagan's tenure was, well, if we give massive tax cuts for the rich and give them all the benefits and whatnot, that wealth will trickle down to the lower class and the working class and whatnot. Still waiting on that. Still waiting, because productivity used to be tied to wages, and now it's not. All right. Yeah, every year several new billionaires get made, while the cost of living continues to fucking go up. And wages don't increase. Not like they should. I think if wages were tied to productivity and adjusted for inflation, the minimum wage would be somewhere like fucking what, $24, $25 right now, minimum wage. Something crazy. Like I have to actually look up the exact numbers, but I'm not joined either. Shit. Hey, dude. I'm doing all right. Yep. Okay. No tariffs forcing national industry. What is this referring to, Megan? Definitely feeling awful nihilistic. I completely fucking agree. I don't. My,
this patriot who is already online talking to his people because he is a more noble, honorable, and respectable podcast host than am I. Pat, Stat Pat, how are you today, man?
hanging in there, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pick up where you left off because I got to go get one thing I just forgot and
Sure.
just keep talking. And my audience is your audience.
Of course. Of course. All right. So, Megan's referring to the chart that I was showing earlier. Crazy how that branches off the same time as fiat currency. Hasn't it been? Well, you might be right about that. I don't know. It's correlation though. I don't know if that's necessarily causation. For gold standards for workers' wages. I mean, maybe that was it. Tax and tips another loophole for billionaires to exploit. Yeah, of course.
So we don't need to necessarily. I'm down. I want you to catch me up on the news because I've been, as I told you over text, pretty disconnected.
Yeah.
But, because I've been busy with other work, but related, but we can't talk about it now. For those of you interested to know about my Blue Sky listing, I have some big news coming in a little bit over a month, April 9th, picking that day for a reason. But my birthday will be March 31st. And I will, I was originally thinking about announcing then, but then I figured April 9th would be a more appropriate day. You will find out then. But I am, let's do the pathetic approach first, pathos, emotion here. Because you were down, I feel like we've switched roles. You were down and out a little bit for a little while there. And now I'm kind of like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel energized, but right now, the more I hear in the news, it's like I can't stand his voice. I don't want to listen to Trump's voice. I don't want to like see his face.
I've been feeling that way for fucking years.
It's difficult. Yeah, but it's gotten even like I have a pretty high tolerance for that kind of shit. And he is really, it's gotten to a point where I just don't want to have anything to do with the news right now. So I think I'm just going to start reading the news instead of watching the news.
Right. Yeah. I don't blame you either. Like I'll just go off of what's in my feed and shit. I'll dig it out, and there's some things here and there. There's the fucking emails that I guess they're being sent by OPM, but like I guess Trump ordered it, and Elon Musk was like, the email is basically like, send in 5 bullet points of like what you did last week, and the deadline was like within like a really short period, and I guess not everybody actually did it, and lots of people were just running around with their heads cut off. And it's just like, for one, there's like a lot of confusion surrounding it because some people are saying that like Elon Musk himself said that like, this is in accordance to what Trump wants, but did Trump actually order this to happen, and why, and what was the reason behind all of this? And for two, it's like there are multiple agencies, numerous agencies, which understandably, like there are a lot more their work is a lot more classified, a lot more secretive. So like you can't exactly reveal too much. And it said so in the emails as well. But I guess there are so many people that just did not respond to Elon Musk at all, and like he was kind of like being all upsetty spaghetti about it on fucking Twitter, whatever the fuck. And it's like this guy has nothing but just full-throated contempt for federal workers. I mean, the Republicans do in general. It's in their it's in their blood to fucking just hate anything government related, and
Yeah.
and so it's like
They've been brainwashed into thinking that government is the problem. Reaganism on cocaine. Yeah.
Exactly. And so if Elon Musk is not going to it has shown that he is not going to show any modicum of respect to federal workers, why in the literal fuck should they show any respect to him and his orders and what he is trying to fucking push out there, you know?
I mean, I'm not surprised when I saw him at the CPAC conference with the chainsaw, and everyone said he was stoned
So
or whatever.
cringe.
I mean, this is an insane person that
Probably
we're dealing with.
he was probably high on ketamine.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a weird guy.
Yeah.
I hate him. I don't think that anything short of street justice is really going to get out of here with anything, you know, remotely a way of dealing with it otherwise.
Okay.
So I don't know what's going on with Elon lately. I watched a little bit of Morning Joe this morning, but by little bit I mean like 15 minutes. Then I couldn't stand it because there was so much Trump.
Oh my
And
God,
so I was like, all right, I'll catch up on this on Substack later, but I didn't end up getting around to it. They always excuse bizarre behavior when it's from anyone other than a liberal. Yep.
Yeah.
That's because they're brainwashed and their figures are intellectually superior to them. They give up. They can't think for themselves. So they're like, oh, Elon's a smart guy. He's a billionaire. He must be brilliant. And I'm going to listen to him and just repeat what he says.
Right.
Just like Trump. It's the same thing. They worship at the altar of the unregulated free market, and and that best manifests itself with the success of billionaires.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. And they mindlessly just like repeat what Fox News is telling them as well. It's like they're riding the coattails of everything Doge related. And the thing is, Doge itself is just completely full of shit. They're throwing these figures out there like, oh, we've saved you this many billions of dollars on taxpayer funds and shit like that, whereas the actual figures are not even anywhere near what they're claiming to be. It they're also pointing out like they're using numbers that are hypotheticals that could be saved if done on a long enough trajectory, and there's just so much fucking misinformation out there. It's just being picked up by everybody, not even like bothering to do the simplest of fact checking. It's like, no, I mean, for one, Doge is not sending you $5,000 in stimulus checks, and for two, like they didn't fucking save $8 billion with that one federal contract that actually amounted to $8 million, and then they've had to issue corrections. There's an instance where they might have actually faked a receipt, which is like really bad news. It's just a fucking mess. It's so ridiculous.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm more interested in what are the Democrats going to do about it, and are they sowing the seeds of a counter revolution for the 2026 midterms and then the big one 2028, because I think you're going to see a political opportunity for the Democratic Party, the likes of which we haven't seen since 2008. So I think the chance for a real progressive Democrat to become president, or to at least get more progressive power within the party, is going to be in those 2026 primaries.
Yeah.
And I think that you're going to see a younger voter turnout than you have since the 1960s. You're going to see what the baby boomers were when they were young, and anti-Vietnam and all that good stuff. Civil rights, all that stuff that took place in the 60s, I think is going to come full circle back to 60 years later in 2026 and 2028.
Yeah.
At least I hope so. Because that's what we really go through, right? Is you got to go through hell. You can't go out the way you came in.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hope that they can transform. And I have no confidence in their ability to do this yet because I haven't seen and getting to know, like, the local chapters of the Democratic Party, doing some reading online about what they're like to interact with. If you're not, status is important. How long you've been there is important. Tracy Eva says it does feel like full circle. Yeah, someone knows their history, right?
Really though. Yeah.
So, I mean, I just kind of see the light, maybe because I'm older, and I just see the light in 2026. And Vietnam back then, Gaza today. Yeah, someone asked me today, like, so is that a policy position? I'm like, yeah, I think it is. I think I have to be, because for those of you who aren't thinking about, who aren't knowing what like I'm up to, I'm thinking about running for office. I haven't decided yet, but I'm thinking about running for office. It's just a question of which one I would run for and what kind of campaign I would want to run.
Yeah.
And maybe we could even make this kind of a discussion for tonight if you want. But it's like, I just want to say fuck you to MAGA. And I think I can do it better than anybody else. I'm sick of these soft lefties who don't know how to work a microphone to save their lives, like Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, how they get into positions of power. And then they think about, how to best please their donors as opposed to how to rally the citizens so that they show up in record numbers in the next 2 and 8 years. I mean, this could be a paradigm shift for the country if the Democrats found some balls.
Yeah.
But I'm getting the impression that it's more about telling people what they want to hear as opposed to what they need to hear.
Right.
And I think I'm right on the money, dude, with this left's narcissism of the politics of joy that Kamala ran on. I don't think they're dead. Like, that was a nail in the coffin for us and Cameron. Connor, the progressive American, who we had that moment of silence with Connor about the death of the politics of love, peace, and kindness. But I don't think that was the case for a lot of people. I think a lot of people still think that we can achieve the scope and scale of power necessary for a counter revolution simply by being ourselves and like promoting a coalition that's built on love, kindness, and diversity of all different kinds of personalities. Remember, I'm all about diversity, but the one thing I want from my next generation of candidates is, are you competitors? And if you look at the people like AOC, Bernie Sanders, Jasmine Crockett, even Chris Murphy, who actually presents as a pretty nice guy, these are competitive people. These are competitive people. They hate losing.
Did you watch Jon Stewart's latest segment from the Daily Show? No. Fucking excellent. He he really goes after DOGE. It's probably his best segment since he got back on the show. Like it was so great. He smashed a mug and ended just cutting his hand open on the desk, and it was a total accident. But he did end up complaining a whole hell of a lot about the Democrats and how
feckless.
Yeah, how fucking old they are, and they're not meeting the moment at all. He did bring up AOC. He brought names like Jasmine Crockett and Chris Murphy as well. Ancient Gamer says, wonder who will be on the ticket. We need some hard-hitting true progressives. I wish Bernie was 20 years younger. Tell me about it. Speaking of Bernie, he's been on fire. He is, I guess, selling out venues. He's doing rallies, and the overflow is twice as big as the actual venues that he's holding these rallies at. I'm just glad he's still out there.
Kicking around 83.
Yeah. Megan says Gen Z at the uni is doing the dance. I'm not exactly sure what you mean. She asked.
So I think we need Bernie, but I think we need 40 years younger, not 20 years younger. I think we need 40 years younger.
Oh yeah,
someone in their 40s or 50s would be nice.
She also asked, will you mention no term limits for president if you run for office, Dieter?
Yeah. I don't have a problem talking about that because it segues into FDR. Any chance I can to talk about FDR as the paradigm, I'm going to.
Yes.
I mean, we have a historical example. We're lucky in that we have such an amazing historical example to draw from.
We really
do. Imagine being him and having to make it all up as you go and actually have the confidence to put into place legislation and policies that had never been done before. I mean, we're so scared in this country of doing something that's never been done before. It's ridiculous. By the way, I want to acknowledge Tracy Eva's wonderful quote here. The love happens after we win, not before. That's right, Tracy. My whole phrase for that would be love to the left, fight to the right. Has a nice ring to it, right?
Yeah, I like that as well. Megan says, Tulsi says people in the NSA trans sex chats will be fired. Did you see that story? I have literally not even an inkling of a clue what you're talking about. Find a clip of like it's show. If you can find a clip of it, I guess we could watch it. I have no idea what that is, but FDR wanting to investigate the DOD just like DOGE for real. I mean, yeah, investigate the DOD for real. Ancient Gamer says AOC Jasmine Crockett ticket or vice versa ticket would be great. Yeah, I completely agree. Leaked chats from the NSA. Okay. That's really weird. Yeah, no, like speaking of Doge, there I guess has been a mass resignation. I guess 21 employees resigned from Doge, refusing to quote dismantle critical public services. Quote, we swore to serve the American people and uphold our oath to the Constitution across presidential administrations. The 21 staffers wrote in the joint resignation letter. However, it has become clear that we can no longer honor those commitments. And I think MSNBC says that they were asked. A quote from them was like they were being asked basically to compromise core government systems, jeopardize American sensitive data, and dismantle critical public services. And I find that very, very interesting because everybody's saying how like Doge is just there to get rid of the waste, fraud, and abuse. And it's just like, well, how do they define that? How do the people in charge of Doge or who are backing Doge or giving them orders whatever the fuck? What exactly does that entail? How do they define it?
Yeah,
it's just a fucking mess, dude.
It really is. But, it's going to be the baby boomers that ultimately have to bear the responsibility for this historically. And I still am not satisfied with any leaders. People talk about AOC, Jasmine Crockett, and Bernie Sanders. I still haven't heard white trash Hitler. And I still haven't heard white trash Nazi.
Yeah.
And I still haven't heard Confederate flag waving, Bible beating gun nuts. And I still haven't heard 3 strikes and you're out. And I still haven't heard don't come to any of our blue cities wearing a MAGA hat because you're going to get treated as if it's a swastika.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm waiting for. That's the leader I want. I want someone who leads with the fight first so that they can get the idiots, bullies, and cowards out of the way so we can actually get some meaningful legislation passed. One thing that drives me nuts hearing about all these neoliberals. I'm going to work with Republicans. I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing to get things done. Well, look at what you have done.
Yeah.
Look at what you have gotten done. Right. Has that produced a legacy of success? No, it's produced a legacy of failure.
Right. Yeah. Megan says, so you're saying Doge includes long-term government employees? I mean, according to Doge themselves, aren't they being disbanded like coming this July? So I'm not exactly sure what the staffers were even referring to, like across presidential administrations. I don't know. I don't get it.
Hold on. Tracy Evans says, are you running to be a governor or a mayor or a senator or a congressman, Dieter? It'll be something that gives me enough influence within the party to try to create top-down change like I've talked about within the culture of the Democratic Party. That's the position that I'm planning on running for. And it plays to my strengths in that respect. I will say it's not a mayor and it's not a congressman, but you're going to like it. It's a fun office. It's the kind of office that you make it what you will, right? It'll all make sense when I come out and tell you what it is in a little bit over a month. But it'll play to my strengths in that it is a communications prioritized position. And it does not matter that I have not been, on the board of supervisors or the board of education or had some small office first. And it shouldn't, because someone who, basically, this is what we haven't, I don't know if we've talked about this, but if you go out and you start calling the MAGA trash, right? You're talking shit to a bunch of card carrying NRA members, and a lot of them have guns, and a lot of them are looking for a reason to use them. So I think a big source of reluctance for someone like AOC, Jasmine Crockett, or Bernie, or maybe they just aren't these types of people. Like it's just not in them to call them white trash Nazis. And it is who I am, and someone's got to do it. I'm not even necessarily running to win so much as I'm running to make a fucking point.
Yeah.
And that point is that, like, you Democrats do not know how to fight. You talk about fighting, but you don't fight. And like Kamala was right. When we fight, we win. Yeah, that's probably true if you had actually fought. And why did she not fight? Because she doesn't know how. She didn't know how. And yeah, it sucks that America's not ready for a female black person to be president, but that's only one reason why she lost. She lost by 1.5% in the popular vote. And there's reason to think that there was a bunch of votes that didn't get counted. She could have won. She could have won. Don't give me this shit that Kamala, lost this election only because she was a woman and only because she was a minority. That's garbage.
Yeah.
She lost it because she played to the center. She didn't come out strong against Israel. And that's why a lot of Bernie's people stayed home. And if you're a liberal watching this and that pisses you off, well, fuck you, because progressives have made it very clear over the years that they are not going to back down on things like genocide. No matter how much money AIPAC has, they don't care. And by the way, progressives are the only ones paying attention to campaign finance.
Yeah.
Everybody should be.
Speaking of which, the rallies did look pretty good. Ancient Gamer says, unless we pull all that money out of our elections, we will never see
right. But you have to.
change.
Yes,
we need someone willing to go to battle to get all that money out. Yeah, it does.
That would be a huge campaign. That would be a huge campaign issue. For me, is money out of politics.
Yeah. AOC started calling Elon a Nazi. Hell yeah, good.
But that's still but actually that's a start. But where you end with Elon is he's Goebbels.
It's also accurate. Yeah.
He's Goebbels.
Yeah.
Know your history. Go Google Goebbels. Go watch Downfall, the movie about the end of Nazi Germany when all the Russians were collapsing in on Berlin.
Yeah.
It's a great film. And Goebbels is a centerpiece. He's the second most important character after Hitler. And it's, you got to understand, right? What's that saying about history? Those who do not study history are doomed to repeat the mistakes of history.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So my advocacy would be, I don't have all the answers, but I know a thing or two about team building. And there's that expression in the business world of, in order to get a deal done, you got to get the lawyers out of the room. Well, in order for major, big time progressive policy to get passed, you need to get the heartless 1%ers and the Confederate flag waving, Bible beating gun nuts out of the room. And until someone is advocating for this addition by subtraction strategy for improved political decision making, I was on the Gen Z Speaks podcast last week. It came out, and I pointed this out to them. I said, I think the progressive left's problem is they speak about the society that they would build in such a way that makes you think everybody would get everything that they want.
Right.
And it would be some sort of utopia. And that's not what I'm advocating for. I'm advocating for the next step in evolution in our country, which is that we get rid of the heartless 1%ers and the Confederate flag waving, Bible beating gun nuts. We make them politically irrelevant.
Yeah.
We isolate them culturally. And we just say those people are freak shows. They have nothing good to add to the decision-making process on a political level. They bring nothing positive to the table. In fact, they're worse than useless. They're counterproductive. They actually hurt the decision-making process. And what we're going through right now as a country is evidence of that. And I thought we'd already learned this lesson. I thought we could have learned this lesson through some other way, but we can't. It's going to take a revolution, and that means defining your enemy. That's the enemy. Heartless one percenters and Confederate flag waving, Bible beating gun nuts. That's the core of MAGA. Everybody else is welcome in the new America except for them.
Yeah, I'm starting to like just. I mean, I it's naive of me to think that like people like in general, like broad society, will change their minds about shit and like realize, oh, my way of thinking about this or that is actually dumb. There's no logic behind it. I need to start approaching it from a more reasonable and rational way, and like that's just fucking completely naive and not even true at all. Like in fact, we're going fast in the opposite direction. We live in a post-truth society.
Right.
Facts are completely irrelevant. We don't bother to fucking like
do our homework.
No, yeah, it's like learn from history. Learn that you're being like identify what is or what isn't propaganda. Like your emotions are being twisted to make you think a certain way about certain demographics and certain groups and certain ideas, modes of thought and shit. It's just incessant. It's like it needs to be perpetually pounded into you for it to be effective, and that it's been this way for fucking years and years, and some people are just too far gone.
Yeah, that's what I said on the WhatsApp on the Gen Z Speaks podcast, talking to those guys, is like we got to recognize that who's reasonable and who's not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think, and I said, if you can get to 2/3 of the voting public, that I think is attainable. And I think how you get there is you get voter participation up to 80%. If you got voter participation up to 80%, then you could win national elections 67 to 33. That's what I think.
Yeah. No. It's hard to get through. Like it's the older demographic more than anything. Just the completely stubborn types that it really is like talking to a brick wall, because they don't care to know about what the other side actually thinks. They rather it be fed it by their own side. You know, like
well, they're also ageists in the opposite direction, where they think that anyone younger than them who didn't, live through the 60s, 70s, whatever, that they don't know as much about the world as they do.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think elder millennials are the most empathetic people, and the data actually shows that we're the only generation trending left. So there is data to support the idea that the boomers and Gen Xers have something to learn from millennials. And that was what was a big motivating factor in me potentially running for office, was when we were with the Gen Z Speaks podcast for the first time. And Ibrahim said, I think it's time for millennials to step up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, I think I agree. And then I started doing some research and looking for millennials who might be wanting to step up.
Yeah.
And that kind of person. And I'm like, yeah, there's some people out there, but everyone's nice. Everyone's too nice, man.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they need some I-95 competitiveness right now.
Right. I just hope that, like, I mean, I hope it stays the same when it comes to elder millennials and whatnot, because I really do feel like the older you get and the wealthier you get, like the less empathetic you get in general. Like, I mean, it's one thing to put yourself first and make sure you're taken care of, but when it gets to a point where like you're just completely turned off from the plight of others or the betterment of society, or the fact that the government is like actively undermining its own programs to lift up the disadvantaged that are reliant on these programs because they don't make fucking enough money to begin with, because fucking wages won't increase to match productivity like they should have. Like, I was talking about this before you came on. If wages actually kept up with productivity like they have for years and years and years, for decades, they would be upwards of $20 to $25 an hour. Like nowadays, like the minimum wage would be that much. Yeah.
If the minimum wage had increased with inflation and
yes,
gone up with household and
productivity in particular. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Tracy Eva, my favorite. I like what you said about the millennials and Gen Z joining together to become the next greatest generation. Yeah, that would be my pitch. It's a legacy pitch. Do you want to go down in history as the greatest generation since the greatest generation? And the millennials will suck it up, and we'll be in our 60s when it's over. And then we'll pass the baton to the Gen Zers, and we're not going to be like our parents who held on to power with their fucking cold, dead hands and didn't want to train the next generation to exercise power. Well, for those who know me, they know that I was educated to exercise power since I was 18 years old. So here we go from Kaltazuma. I was talking to my partner about this earlier, how a household could be 5 individuals all making a wage and still none of them could go live on their own. They want us all bunched up and stressed.
That is exactly.
I don't even get.
I don't really agree with that.
I don't know if they want us all bunched up and stressed. They just don't care. They just don't care. They're trying to maximize profits. Don't overcomplicate it. Like, they're just trying to do everything in their power to maximize profits. And that means paying their workers as little as possible. What's the most expensive part of any business's operating costs? It's people. And that's why Elon's focused so much on cutting people rather than, what he could be cutting is resources in the military, for example.
Right. I think a big aspect of that, though, is just housing costs in general. It's like people can't really afford to live on their own because of just how expensive housing is to begin with, whether you're renting or looking to buy a home in general. Like, you do need at least someone else to help carry the burden of housing costs in general. And so, like, with how expensive housing is right now, it's like no wonder people are like looking to like get roommates or move in with family or and friends and whatnot, or move in with their partners or whatever the fuck,
Yeah, I think not being able to own a home is a really good source of is going to turn people's heads. Like, hey, Gen Zers, you guys are not going to be able to own a home, by the way, because of all the decisions that were made by baby boomer conservatives.
Yeah,
that's trickle down economics for you, by the way.
Exactly.
In case you were wondering how it actually worked, that long term, that's how it worked.
Yep. Ancient Gamer says, if the wannabe dictator got his way with Canada, we may never lose another election. That would be horrible, though. Yeah, I mean, because it's not popular. And Megan's curious if elder millennials are truly the kindest or not. Is there another demographic?
I would say empathetic. I would say empathetic and comfortable with conflict too, because we care about the environment and we're willing to fight for it, and we're willing to call white trash idiots, bullies, and cowards. Like, you got to have someone step up and say these things. I don't care what my career looks like, just as long as I'm the prototype for a new kind of Democrat, one that takes the fight to the right.
Yeah.
Instead of just playing defense all the time. Like Gavin Newsom, as problematic as he is for a myriad reasons, he has the right idea when he says, I want to go on offense. Problem is, he doesn't know how either.
Yeah.
And he's held back from going on offense with his beholdenness to his donors, because that's why he's gone back on Medicare for all. That's why he's changed so many positions. Kiltazuma says, plus, unless you have to move to the city, there's not too many good quality jobs outside of food service. Yeah. The packing plants and other plants are too enduring, and most people can't work through the initial strain and make that long-term $20 per hour wage. Jesus Christ, $20 an hour.
Jeez. Yeah. Megan says,
it is green.
It really is. Yeah. If you're doing less work because the machine or the AI does most of the work, then the rise of productivity doesn't relate to the worker at all. So why would the worker get the benefit when they're doing less?
Well, that argument is contained within the assumption that society should work that way in the first place.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if we're being replaced by AI, like, shouldn't it be society's
benefit?
It shouldn't it be that we get some sort of what's a dividend for the rise in the AI replacing human labor, because if the majority of labor does get replaced by AI or machines and shit, we're just left on our ass. Like that's unemployment through the roof. That is a bunch of hungry, starving people, a bunch of starving, angry people. Whereas like all the ultra wealthy are fine. They're still making millions. They're still making billions. So like, what the fuck does it matter to them if a lot more people are not only out of a job but scraping to get by because they literally have fucking nothing.
Right. So Tracy Evan wants to know if I'm talking about UBI. I actually have an alternative idea to UBI that involves debt relief on a scope and scale that we haven't seen before. And it would leverage the wealth that exists in California itself. It would work better in California than it would in every other state because we got more money than everybody else.
Right. Yeah. Ancient Gamer says, I absolutely agree. So tired of the carrots. Pull out the fucking sticks. Yes. Better yet, the ball bats, politically speaking. Yeah, I completely agree.
I mean, if I wish I had been there at that Idaho town hall where the woman got dragged out by those 3 so-called cops who never showed a badge.
Oh
I mean,
my
if I had
God.
been there, dude, I would have absolutely gotten in those guys' face and made sure they get called white trash Nazis.
Yeah, blew a
And
lid.
so that follows them for the rest of their lives. But
Yeah.
until I see anyone advocate, like, don't come down the streets of LA, San Francisco, San Diego, San Jose, like, don't come into these towns wearing a MAGA hat. Until I hear that sentiment expressed, I'm gonna try to get serious about running for office and making a point. And maybe somebody else bigger than me with a bigger profile picks up on these tactics and uses them. I'm fine with that as long as somebody steps up and does it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's called conformity. So check out Kiltazuma. Go Google. I think it's Betty Genovese. It's the most amazing example. Conformity. Kitty Genovese. So it's here. I'll write it in the. So check out Kitty Genovese. And that rocked the psychology world, specifically social psychology, and that it gave us insight into the social behavior of conformity. So this woman was getting, I don't know if it was raped or murdered, either one. She was shouting out for help in some grove in New York City, and no one called the cops. And she was crying out for like hours or something. And no one ended up doing anything about it because everyone just assumed somebody else would take care of it.
Yeah, Ancient Gamer says she's facing criminal charges too. Pretty messed up. Megan says, I directly deal with people who believe inaccurate AI takes instead of reading the actual regulatory document. They don't deserve any money from time saved with AI because they're the reason I hate it. Are you talking about the people whose jobs are replaced by AI, or the people who like control the AI, or the people who regulate AI? Which I don't even know if there's any like regulatory apparatus for AI currently in the United States. I think Biden tried to get something fucking done, but it just fucking went nowhere. It's all such a new thing. One of my favorite videos was actually this guy Anthony Fantano, who goes by the needle drop, and he considers himself like the internet's busiest music nerd, responding to Grimes of all people, Elon Musk's ex's baby mama, because she was trying to like make a case that like AI is the quickest way to get to communism, and the argument was basically uh, AI will replace all these jobs, so that way people can, pursue their dreams and not have to worry about working so much because AI is just going to take care of everything. And Anthony Fantano responded to saying this is a silly notion. Like it's not going to lead to communism; it's just going to lead to another version of feudalism, which is what is like, realistically speaking, that's kind of where an AI future is bound to lead, because like, if everything is taken over by AI and jobs are replaced by AI, those people are going to be left out on their ass. Like, it's just like, there's not going with the direction that the country is going right now, and just like the deregulation of everything, the dismantling of all these agencies, the fucking $880 billion in custom Medicaid that just got fucking passed by the House, for example, as well as billions in cuts to SNAP. All these, all this funding being taken away. Like, there's the social safety net itself is being just torn the fuck apart. If this is truly our AI future, and those programs, those social programs, are not in place to keep people afloat if they fall on the hard times and they lose their jobs with the advent of AI and shit, you think the powers that be, that oversee and own this technology, are going to give half a flying fuck when they own parts of the government anyway? They have more influence and oversight and power uh, to the executive or Congress or whatever the fuck than the people that are being laid off. Like, it's silly. It's not going to happen with the way things are going. It's just gonna get worse. It's just gonna get worse and worse and worse. It's gonna affect the lowest earners in our country the worst by far. If you think crime is bad now, like, we just wait until like people get really fucking desperate.
Yeah, and I wonder where that manifests. I mean, did you see that
Poverty.
did you see another plane almost crashed today? Some Southwest
I've seen
flight.
I've seen like 3 or 4 different like plane stories the past like week. You know, it's hard to keep track of how many of them are happening now.
Kiltazuma says it's like they're trying to do as much as they can before people truly catch on to the harm being done. By the time everyone understands, it'll be too hard. They'll have all their people in power. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Wait until it's like the BLM protests. It'll be a lot worse than the BLM protests.
Oh my god, yeah, it'll
be everywhere.
Make it look like a cakewalk. Honestly,
I know there's going to be a big protest on March 15th, like across the country.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's gonna be some big protests March 15th.
I've heard a couple of things here and there, but I don't know too much about it.
Kids on the march.
Yeah. Megan says people who have to do less because of AI, which just leads to lazy illiterates who read a less than accurate summary and take that as the word of God, and everyone else who can actually read has to deal with it. Oh, you're talking about, okay. She says I have a grudge against someone related to work right now, so I'm biased. Oh, I know exactly the lady you're talking about. Okay, for sure. Instagamer says shock and awe campaign. Yeah, no, yeah. That's
kind of what I'm advocating for, is a shock and awe campaign.
Yeah, from our side.
From our side, where it's like, okay, fine, you want to play hardball, then just don't come to our cities. Don't come to our greater metro areas wearing that fucking MAGA hat, because your tires are going to get slashed. You're not going to get served at restaurants, bars, and clubs. You're not going to be welcome to any public events whatsoever. We see you at a movie theater, we're going to tell you to get the hell out. People have the right to business owners have the right to reject service to anyone they want. So all the best businesses are in cities or in surrounding areas.
Big cities, yep.
So, this is those are the people who are actually watching the news and paying attention. And if you live there and you show up with a MAGA hat, you're not going to be comfortable. And I can't guarantee your safety.
Right.
I mean, this is the biggest difference, I think, between us and a lot of lefties who want to just put it all on the conservative politicians. It's like, no. The conservative voters were complicit in this. They supported this, especially the people that voted for Trump 3 times.
No, yeah, and exactly.
Like, there's no 3 strikes and you're out. Like, you're done. We're done with you.
Right. I have a friend who's been, I can tell she's stressed. She's a therapist, and sends me fucking like nightmare after nightmare and shit. It's just like I try not to engage with it as much. Like, for example, she sent me like Nick Fuentes being uncomfy about Steve Bannon doing that half-assed Nazi salute at CPAC
Right.
or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But she's been digging through Facebook and searching for public posts of countless people. I mean, she sent me like maybe like 20, 30 different posts, one after another, and still continues to send me some of Trump voters that are actively expressing regret voting for Trump. And a lot of it has to do with siding with Russia over Ukraine. That's one of the big reasons. And there's some other shit too, like the fact that it's just like total chaos right now, and they didn't vote for chaos. Among other things, it seems that he's becoming, more authoritarian. Yeah, but most of the fucking Russia Ukraine shit is crazy. Yeah,
I'm sad to hear this. Fresh out of the asylum. Welcome to the party. Thank you, Tracy, for bringing her in here. Mind you, I didn't mind leaving Blue Sky libs whining and bitching about everyone with no ideas themselves. I wrote a scathing skeet and bounced. That sucks. I'm sorry to hear that because I still have hope for that platform. And I think it might be a good vehicle for getting the libs to wake up to progressives being the superior political athletes and being out front and learning from everybody. They're teaching everybody how to fight because I don't think libs know how to fight. Fresh Blue Sky is a strange limbo, and starting to see more trolls too. Yeah, but I don't know, Fresh. If you decide to come back, definitely make sure you follow me because that's going to be the best way to follow what I'm up to. Because I might change my mind on X. I might go back to X, but
I can't stand it.
I can't. I just out of principle, I don't think I can support Elon, and I don't think I need it. I can be on Instagram. As long as I got Instagram and Blue Sky, people can get a hold of me. People can find me.
Right. Megan's saying Trump voters going for Ukraine. Okay. I mean, a lot of that is mostly just leftover Cold War, sentiments. Like fucking Putin is a dictator. He's a ruthless dictator. He has total control over the government there, and I mean, and another part of it too is, um, fucking sympathy with the military there. Like we all watched as it happened. Like literally, as of yesterday, 3 years to the day, a unilateral invasion of Ukraine by Russia, completely unprovoked. It checks out. I mean, yeah. Did you see the Mexican
imperialism's hot right now, man? Imperialism is making a comeback.
Right.
I thought we were done with it, but it's making a comeback.
Yeah, it's crazy how like fucking hardcore MAGA types that just follow Trump's every single word on like everything is cozying up to like being more pro Russia and shit. Which I mean, you can't really fucking trust those fuckers with anything, but they're also on the same side as the tanky types who like they kind of de facto support Russia because Ukraine's full of fucking Nazis and shit or whatever the fuck. They just don't like NATO. They just don't like the West. They just don't like America. So like they're just reactionary. So like they're de facto supporting Russia. Like strange to see those like both of these sets of clowns on the same side and shit. Megan says, "Did you see that Mexican guy Nazi salute saying my heart goes out to you?" So wow with the accent. No, I didn't see it. I have no idea what that is. X is
Thank you, Fresh. I'm glad. Yeah, pay attention to me on Blue Sky because it's going to get busy these next 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we have more Nazis than Ukraine. Yeah, we sure
do. Real. Ancient Gamer says X is a straight up Nazi platform today. Yeah, I deleted the app, but like sometimes I can't stay away because there's some sort of news that's just so fucking out there, so egregious or just so stupid that like I'll pull up the browser and post it and shit. But it is straight up like a Nazi haven for sure. People who care about Ukraine going for Trump over Harris. That I would assume that's more of like a very niche group of people. But and that goes for either like whether or not you consider yourself left or right. Um, yes, should then take these more often, please. Yes, yes, and no, Hassan's like not not a fucking Nazi. Hassan's great though. Ancient Gamer, yeah, I love him. Um, posted a
Yeah, I
clip.
wish he would start a PAC or something like that, and he could
Yeah.
start to promote
Oh yeah.
progressives in primaries, because that's what the younger generation doesn't realize, and that's why we've made a point of it, repeating it. And we should keep repeating it and never apologize for it. Hey, young people, you want a new America? You used to got to start voting twice in even years.
Yeah.
You vote twice in even years. Every even year, you're voting once in usually in the first 6 months of the year, and then another time that for the general election in November.
Yeah.
Zuma says, I like to keep the resource available to look at. It's so full of rage, bait, anger, and arguments. And unless you already had a community, it's toxic. Yeah, I didn't really have a community, so I got the hell off, and for my own mental health reasons, really, more than any others.
That's exactly why I did it. I can't stand Twitter. It's awful.
It's just disgusting.
It's the people.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's not what it used to be. It's not what it used to be.
In that same respect, the people hate on social media, and obviously social media has done a lot of negative things for society. But for those of us who had strong educations or a portfolio of life experiences that led us to a progressive value system, who know the evil of conservatism, you can see it in plain sight now.
Yeah.
You can see it's not just the nut job politicians manipulating their voter bases. It's actually the people themselves.
Yeah.
It's the problem with America is the 1/3 of the voting republic that can best be described as Confederate flag waving, Bible beating, gun nuts, or some combination of those three labels.
Yeah. Leadership material.
No. So Hassan Piker is a he's leadership material with respect to a media presence. Like I'm a little disappointed. If MSNBC had balls, for example, they would go give him a show and they would give him free range. But I don't think he's like an elected official material.
Mm-hmm.
Cenk gets on my last nerve. Yeah, Cenk's a child.
Yeah.
Hassan's way smarter than Cenk.
Yeah. Megan says, I don't think Hassan's a Nazi. Lol on me following him on X even after the Ethan Klein takedown and then saying X is for Nazis. Yeah, that takedown was that was dumb. That was really dumb. Like Ethan Klein's kind of a child, but then again, sometimes Hassan is as well. Yes, you're right. Hassan can't handle insult generally. Been watching Hassan for about 7 years now. I watch clips of him every now and then, but
yeah, I don't watch the whole episodes or anything like that.
No, yeah. Ancient Gamer says
no.
we need enthusiasm, and as long as we still have elections in 2028, I think we will have it. Yeah, fingers.
Yeah, that's
crossed.
what I'm worried about too. Is like that they're going to go after the election system itself.
No, exactly.
I imagine Bernie mentoring Hassan. Yeah, no, Again, Hassan is a creature of the media. He's not. He has not been educated to exercise power. I do not believe.
No.
He's got good ideas. I think he could work for some great candidate, maybe as their like communications head or something like that. But I don't see Hassan being the candidate. Legacy media will never give air to leftists. It goes against their agenda. That's true. Although MSNBC is getting pretty damn desperate right now for a voice.
No, yeah, like especially given the fact that they just fired Joy Reid. And I was never the biggest fan of her, but it's just like another voice who was pro Palestine and like actually like lobbied criticisms at Israel for what they've been doing. It's just like it's so transparent.
That issue is only going to get worse. It looks
yes.
Like. Because it looks like Netanyahu just doesn't give a fuck. He's just going to do whatever he wants. And the parking lot that is going to be Palestine in 2 to 4 years, even more so than it already is. Like, where are all those people going to go? Like, that's going to spiderweb across Europe and the Middle East, and it's going to be all their problem. And I don't think that the Zionist media here in America, Zionist-friendly media, I should say, is going to be able to protect them. Like, there's a reason why all these other nations are speaking up about it. And that's going to be there's a lane wide open right now wide open for someone to be like, I am not beholden to APAC. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous.
It's just so remarkable. Just sitting back as a spectator, just vicariously looking at the world, and like like what the solutions are for this conflict or this conflict. You know what should happen. You know what should take place, so that way this shit like doesn't happen again, and this shit stops, and then all of it just unraveling, never coming to fruition. That's a very special kind of frustrating, I think. God damn.
No, I have not covered my insanity yet. But I would be happy to, Fresh, if you want to get more specific with that, because just like there's different kinds of stupid, there's different kinds of crazy.
Mhm.
And you got to be a certain kind of crazy to want to run for office, especially the way I want to run. So it's basically a death wish. I don't really care if they cap me in the head because that'll just make me more powerful. It's like Obi-Wan
Yeah.
telling Vader, if you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. That's how
Yeah.
I feel. That's the attitude I'm going in
Sweet.
to it. I'm just reading the vid title. Oh, yeah. Oh. I wrote that really quickly. Didn't even think about it. But basically, yeah.
Oh, I didn't even read that first.
Yeah. So basically, Fresh.
Stat
let me
Pat
give
plays a therapist to Dieter's insanity. Okay,
yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, because I was having a tough mental health day. Just stretched.
Oh, me too.
Till Sunday,
dude. Me too.
But
I don't know what it is about this time
little...
of this time of year, like this month in particular. Like I've even posted about it before. It's like a year ago, around this time, like I was in like literally the worst depression of my fucking life. Like it was like I was literally suicidal. It was kind of really that bad. Probably like the worst experience.
When we started talking,
it was around that time, yeah. But it was just deep shit in my personal life, and like I've noticed throughout the past several years now just how grim February and January are as months. Typically, it's it's after the holidays,
after the Super Bowl.
and after the Super Bowl, yeah. And it's like, it's just I don't know what it is. It really is, but it must be just like a seasonal depression thing. But last year was especially bad, and of course
that's why I try to go skiing whenever I can in January or February for that exact reason.
Hell yeah,
it's like the worst. You got to do your taxes or whatever. You got to, it sucks. It's just a shitty time of year.
Yeah, and of course, like 3 years ago, like watching the blitzkrieg that Russia put on, like on Ukraine, basically, and like the invasion, and watching updates day after day, it was just like a really, really stressful time. And then, of course, like 5 years ago, when like more and more signs started popping up here and there about like a looming pandemic on the horizon, and then, of course, like a week ago, a week from today, 5 years ago, Bloody Monday, and Bernie Sanders being completely screwed over in the primaries. Yet again, he was at the top of his game for like a couple months, like leading in the polls and everything, doing great in the debates, and then rug pull. Yeah. So it's just this time of year sucks. It really does. Glad you're doing better. Thank you so much.
But it's important. I'm glad we went live tonight because it's important to stay connected to the audience and make sure we're giving some love to our loyal viewers, because our audiences are growing slowly but surely, and I think they're going to grow a lot if and when I decide to run for office.
Big time.
But I
have a good night, dude.
Like, a lot of people are saying like go to a smaller office or this, that, or things. Like, no, I need something where I'm going to make a splash. I need something where I can, be able to have access to guys like Hakeem Jeffries and say, dude, let me teach you a thing or two about rhetorical conflict because you suck at it. Like, where are your balls? Somebody needs to get in that guy's face and say, where are your balls? Chuck Schumer, you need to be put out to pasture.
Yes.
But Hakeem Jeffries, where are your goddamn balls?
No kidding.
Tracy Eva says, I admire your self-sacrifice and personal coach, Dieter. Only true leaders have both. Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, it's either you got to be willing to die for the cause or you don't belong in a position of leadership.
Completely agree.
Because that's where we're at.
Yeah.
They're not just overgrown children with votes. They're overgrown children with votes and guns.
Yeah, and that's because we're dealing with like a lot of people in the Democratic Party who are fucking complete cowards themselves. Because most of them go in there just to be career politicians and just rake in the dough, fucking like get little contributions and donations to their campaigns by various PACs or lobbying groups and whatever, and we wonder why various politicians have 7-figure, 8-figure net worths and shit. It's because they're fucking doing backroom favors and shit. It's because they're voting in favor of what all these special interests lobby them for. And it's like, it's no wonder people like Kirsten Gillibrand was saying like, we can't, look. I think she was like one of the people that was like outside one of the agencies that was taken over by DOGE or whatever. Um, we can't. I forget exactly what she said, but she was basically saying that she couldn't be more bold about this or that because we're being sent death threats and shit. It's just like, motherfucker, you're a public, you're a public figure. Like you're in there to fucking do, like, who gives a fuck? You're going to do shit that people don't like. You're a politician.
There you go again. Like, and people are going to get uncomfortable with it, but it's like, where are your balls? Like,
yeah, it's like, God,
if you're not willing to, if you can't stand the heat, get the fuck out the kitchen. There's that expression, right?
Yeah,
it's a good one.
Speaking of balls, Megan's saying cover Israeli protests against Netanyahu. Like those are people with some fucking balls.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, because those have been going on for like fucking what, since October 7th popped off. Like, I mean, longer than that because of Netanyahu's corruption in Israel and him wanting to fucking rewrite the constitution so whether so he can stay in power or something to do with the courts. I'm not exactly sure on the details, but like, yeah, he's not a fucking popular figure, and the only reason that he's still in power is because of the shit with Hamas and in Gaza. Excuse me, and in Gaza, and now they're moving into the West Bank.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
I mean, it's like, it might sound callous, but I mean, my just honest reaction to any conflict involving Israel in the Middle East is, wow, we're doing this again.
Yeah.
Because since before, I think I've said it a few times now, the earliest news memory I have was the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. Started following politics really in 92 with the Bill Clinton election by plurality over George H.W. Bush and Ross Perot. So that was when I started to kind of get curious about, like, wait, how did he win without the majority? What the hell?
Mm-hmm.
And then, and I was only, 92, 7 or 8, depending on when. Yeah, no, I was 8. I was 8 when that election happened. And so I've been paying attention to politics for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And since before Clinton even got elected, I remember hearing about and studying military conflicts in the Middle East involving Israel. And I'm sick of hearing about it.
Yeah.
I'm sick of fucking hearing about it.
No,
I'm sick of hearing about it. And then whenever time anyone criticizes Israel, they get called an anti-Semite. It's like, fuck you, dude. It's a government. It's not a religion that I'm criticizing.
Yeah. No, exactly. Difference.
Yes, I do welcome their hatred.
Yeah.
I mean, and he came from privilege, but he had balls, and in a metaphorical sense, and he didn't care about people coming after his bold policy. Imagine, that's the thing about FDR. Why no one is like, he did it before anybody else did. Like, he completely transformed our fundamental understanding of what the relationship should be between the federal government and the individual citizen.
Exactly.
And there is an historical example now to draw from that. Like, there is a Democratic Party's Reagan, and we don't have Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand. Oh, that quote was new to you. Oh, that's cool. Well, I'm glad I could drop a little bit of knowledge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically saying in so many words, bring it on. Bring it on. You think this is what you tell the bully.
Yes.
You think I'm afraid of you?
Right.
What are you going to do? Kill me? Cool.
Yeah.
So then everybody is going to see how ugly you are. And then everyone's going to see what I said, see that I'm right, and do it.
Yeah.
If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Yeah.
Where's that leader? Where's that leader?
please, crying out loud. Yeah, Megan says Israeli wars are like African wars. Yeah, just constant flare-ups, constant instability, and a lot of it is done on purpose. Completely, yeah. Just saw some likely fake news on Ukraine accepting Russia-U.S. peace deal. Yeah, that's probably bullshit. Europe came in and mandated border lines for Israel. Yeah, and for countries in Africa, and many times ignoring cultural borders. 100%. It's almost like, cultural sensitivity plays a pivotal role in fucking all sorts of endeavors and deals and deal making and shit like this. Especially if you're doing something as you know substantial as drawing imaginary lines in the fucking dirt between nations. You would want to hold that into consideration.
Yep.
Yeah, it's almost like intervention bad. Yes, that's absolutely right, Megan. I couldn't agree more. God damn.
It's almost like Megan's learning from you.
Well, we see eye to eye on quite a few things for sure. We definitely. I mean, she is a libertarian, and I do have that libertarian streak in me. We may not see eye, especially on economics, but including intervention in war. I mean, it depends. It really depends. It depends on what like you have to approach it as things are currently. Like there's no undoing treaties you've made, alliances you've made, deals that you've made with other countries. There's a lot of complex factors that go into it. Megan says she can play the devil's advocate, Dieter. The devil's advocate.
What'd she say?
She said she can play the devil's advocate, and yeah, she does that quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. That's always. I mean, you in order to deconstruct these arguments.
Yes.
That's very useful.
There's absolutely a case for undoing deals. I mean, it really does depend. I mean, it like I said, it's really complex. Like there's a lot of things that hold the geopolitical order in order that can't just be undone and just left. You can't be reckless about it. Is what I'm saying. Yeah, get into the nuance. Yes, I mean that's the key. That nuance is 100% the key because you can't have a one size fits all approach to fucking everything. It's like it's there's a reckless approach by the fucking Trump administration right now. It's just you know, give Russia fucking everything they want, abandon Ukraine, make false claims. There's a clip. I don't know if you saw it or not of Trump with Emmanuel Macron, the French leader, saying that France is giving Ukraine these loans. Ukraine still needs to pay those back, and then Macron literally stops and says, "Oh no, we paid them. Those loans are paid. This just you motherfucker. They just paid Ukraine. You don't need to fucking give them loans that they're going to pay back later
Trump's
because
not that
they
smart.
actually believe in the cause that Ukraine is fighting for because fucking nobody likes Russia and for good fucking reason,
Yeah, the only more hated tourist in the world before an American is a Russian tourist. The Russian tourists are the worst. They're followed by the Americans, followed by the UK.
Yeah,
those are known as the worst tourists in the world.
Yeah, no
for
kidding.
Those of you.
Yeah,
but that would probably be the yes. He kind of does. Yeah, I do agree, Tracy. Weird balls, but France is good weird.
He does. He kind of worked Trump in that meeting. You can kind of tell they were buddying it the fuck up, and Macron was just really playing into it. I think he really understands Trump more than a lot of other leaders do, or the leaders that don't know how to work him like Macron does.
Right.
Just buddy it up, which Trump gets a lot out of. Honestly, you can tell he enjoys it. Megan talking about undoing deals and whatnot. Ukraine to NATO undoing the former deal. That deal was never actually a deal in the first place. Macron had previous interactions with Trump. Yes, I know. I'm also speaking to his previous interactions as well. Like it's not just like yeah, they've met several times in the past. Yeah, but
yeah, it makes him look more legitimate. Trump likes it because it makes him look more legitimate that he's with Macron and like this well-liked Western European leader.
Right.
But then Macron's like in the moment, like actually smart enough to be able to expose Trump's bullshit, and he probably studied it and he knew what was coming.
Yes, I think
he knew what was going. French are good students typically.
No, I think he's really smart about it too because he even I don't know if it was Macron himself, but I know some sort of French um diplomat or higher up or ranking member or something like that uh reached out to Denmark saying, "Hey, if the US is set on taking Greenland, we can offer up troops to help you defend it." Like that's a real thing. But when it comes to Ukraine joining NATO, Megan, that deal was never finalized. It never actually got past the point where it got out of the phase that it was being floated. I like the words don't come to mind, but it never got like out of the phase where it was just like an idea that was being floated for them to take the steps, go into the phases of it becoming a NATO member, and that was never going to be a thing. But yeah.
Well, I'm excited. I mean, the more I think about this project of potentially running for office, the more I think I need to do it because I think we just need younger, angrier, righteous voices in the public discourse, and it's just not happening. I'm just not satisfied. I never thought that someone who as passionate about conflict, rhetorical conflict, as I am, might be useful to the Democratic Party because I thought that the Democratic Party is where kindness and political correctness, the good version of which is cultural sensitivity. But I never thought that, the party would need someone like me to be an example of a new paradigm of politician, right? Like, but it still feels like the more I interact with the establishment here in California, the more I am reminded of the cultural barriers that are so deeply embedded into the institution, which is diversity equals equality, and everyone's a winner, and inclusivity at all costs, and because of those values and the blind faith to those values, it feels like that's why they don't know how to fight. Is because they don't deal with their negative emotions in a politically productive way. They don't. Like when I hear, I still haven't disclosed who it is, but there's a prominent congressman who's known as progressive. He's not really that progressive, but he gave us that webinar. He's like, lead with love and don't tell MAGA I told you so. And I just feel the exact opposite. I said, lead with love to the left, but fight to the right by telling them I told you so. What do you do with a child when they fucked up and you told them not to do that and they fucked up? Say, you ready to listen now? You ready to learn? Because it turns out I do know some things that you don't. Enough of this consumer politics bullshit. This is what I hate, is the consumer politics is telling people what they want to hear, satisfying their fucking ego so you can convince that person to vote for you. What if you had a candidate come out and say, I'm not asking you for your vote, I'm challenging you for your vote?
That's
right?
A good way to put it. Yeah.
Like if for example, I'm from Boston. So if I were to run for office in like LA, for example, or doing an event in LA, like I am challenging you Lakers fans to vote for a Celtics fan. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? If a bunch of Lakers fans elected a Celtics fan into a position of power within the Democratic Party that had the ability to influence the culture from the top down and get in the face of people like Chuck Schumer and say, dude, you are done like dinner. Get out of the way. Whatever value you had is now gone. You are not just useless. you are counterproductive to the cause. Like someone has got to say these things publicly so that he drops out.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely fucking agree. Honestly.
Tracy Evans, my big fan.
Yes, like this would inspire other people to run as well. Like someone like you, like it's just making a big enough splash can inspire.
Showing them that there's a different way. Showing them
Yeah.
that there's a different way. I've been talking to some like veteran strategists, and they're all like, "Go for a smaller office," or go for like city council or something. I'm like, no, I need to have access and a profile to influence this party because I know better than their leaders.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get in the system and then have the system change me. And now I'm adapting to the system. No, I need the system to adapt to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am the evolution.
Mm-hmm.
I am the next generation.
Of course.
I'm the prototype. That's how I'm presenting myself. Is I'm not the next great hero of the left. I am the prototype for the next great hero of the left.
Yeah.
Let me use my righteous anger as a white man to break down these barriers and these cultural assumptions about what rhetorical conflict from the left should look and sound like. Let me show you how to be productively angry. Because I don't think many people are good at it, regardless of what their gender or race is or socioeconomic background. I don't think a lot of people are good at getting angry and letting people know that this anger isn't for you. This anger is for MAGA trash.
Righteous anger.
I'm going to use this anger to keep MAGA trash at bay so that the smart people can go to work. Because MAGA is stupid, stubborn, and sociopathic. MAGA is white trash America. I don't care if you're poor or if you're not even white. If you're MAGA, you're fucking trash.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the world would be a better place. Our country sure as shit would be a better place if you weren't in it. And chances are the world would be a better place if you weren't in it. Because if all of this information isn't enough to get you to see that conservatism is intellectually bankrupt, nothing will.
Yeah.
Nothing will.
Yeah. Yeah. Maggie says, I think this clip could easily be taken out of context. Yeah, it can. But then, like, you want to understand.
As long as it gets me attention, and that's the other thing I don't think a lot of younger, less experienced, performers. I mean, I've got an acting background. I've got a stand-up comedy background. I was trained in public speaking in college. I had public speaking experience prior to that. The reason why I'm passionate about public speaking and just communication in general is because I was actually marginalized within my family structure. So I don't know if this is getting a little personal, but I'm going to have to get people to know me. And how does this, straight white man empathize with undervalued members of society, such as women and minorities? It's like, well, because I was marginalized within the context of my family. I was the scapegoat in a narcissistic family system.
You want to get the point across. Like, you have a message, and like it could easily, you feel like your family is among the top people who need to hear your messages.
Yeah, I think there's two sides to that coin. One is the type of family that I came from endowed me with a knowledge of the enemy being defined as conservative ideology, instituted within, cloaked as family values. I think I know the enemy as well as anyone. I won't say better than anyone, but I will say as well as anyone. And then I also think that my position in the family, which I don't know if those of you listening know about families defined by narcissistic abuse, but very often what happens in narcissistic abuse is someone becomes a scapegoat. And not always, but very often too, that scapegoat is the scapegoat because they are the truth teller. And they don't want, the rest of the family doesn't want to hear these ugly, uncomfortable truths of like, dad's an asshole, dad's yelling too much, mom's shoving her white trash Jesus down everyone's throat. Why are we only getting money instead of love? Like these kinds of fucked up things that, especially when you're the youngest, if you're calling these out, everyone's telling you to shut the fuck up. What do you know? So that was there were two benefits to that life experience. One was I do know the feeling of being powerlessness, of being powerless within a situation where you shouldn't be powerless, when you're in the right and everyone else is in the wrong. I know what that feels like. I do. I don't know what it's like to be to be oppressed by society, but I do know what it's like to be oppressed by a family. I really do know that. And similarly too with the rhetorical skills, it's I talk as fast as I do in the way that I do because there's an imaginary clock in my head telling me I'm going to get a cutoff soon. So I better get what I have to say out really efficiently and really effectively.
Yeah.
So that's just training without even realizing it. That was training for a career in public communication. I mean, it's annoying that these questions are all like about experience when you're thinking about running, like, well, what's your experience? What it should be about is skills and talent.
Yeah.
And that's why the office that I have in mind, I think, lends itself to that argument. Like, you could have so and so who's been a mayor but didn't win re-election, and they're running for this office. But what are they really going to do in that office while they're there? Probably more of what they did as mayor, which didn't result in them getting reelected. That's just one example.
Yeah.
Out of thin air. But hold on a second. My two sisters were the narcissists in my family. I was in the middle. Yeah, that happens too, with the oldest and the youngest getting the all the attention, hogging everything. But the reason why I was marginalized one in my family was because there's large age gaps in between the siblings. So my abusive oldest brother used to call me names and try to make me feel stupid. And I realized finally, after a lot of therapy and growing up, that he was really just jealous that my dad looked at me as the smart one, and he didn't have that. He was a great athlete, but that was all he was.
Right.
And I think he was always jealous of that. Men with their daddy issues, man, they're
Mm-hmm.
so simple. Like I
They really.
appreciate women who understand men with daddy issues. Like, if you're getting to know a guy, figure out if you're dating anyone listening to this. If you're dating a man and he's a competitive guy, figure out what kind of relationship he had with his dad. I know they say figure out what kind of relationship he had with his mom, and that'll be indicative of how he's going to treat you. It's not always true. If you want to get to the source of that anger or that competitive disposition, because there's a healthy version of being a competitive person, but if you're worried that his competitiveness is an issue and might fuck with your relationship, figure out if he has an accurate understanding of who his dad is, and that his dad was the primary source of that need to win.
Spoken so truly. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It really is like there's such a huge psychological aspect to fucking the behavior of men in general. Honestly, especially the higher you get into power and wealth and influence, and like the narcissistic energy just blooms out of that. And self-entitled nature is attached to that as well. The need to one up others, the need to show, like, just flash how better you are, like just obtain a higher status. It's gross. It's like, like a lot of these super wealthy people like try to like one up one another as well. Because I mean, in the end, all they care about is being perceived as uh being better. I guess
Right.
you could say, because they have like more numbers. Yeah, it's superiority complex.
Yeah, I mean, it's just quintessential narcissism, and I think it's really easy when you grow up and you're good at sports to kind of get caught up in thinking that competition is the only thing, and it's always a good thing.
No.
And for those people out there who like to quote Vince Lombardi on winning isn't everything, but it's the only thing, he hated being known for that quote. He said people completely took that out of context. I didn't mean it to be like it's a good thing. I meant it to be kind of the tragic reality of being a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Like, your worth is defined by whether or not you win or lose. Whereas if you pursue a lot of other careers, you will find satisfaction in those, not so much by winning or losing, but just by doing well and, getting things done for people and communities.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be just beating someone
exclusive
and asserting yourselves as superior to them. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it should. Yeah. Understanding psychology, especially psychopathy, is important in politics. Crucial.
Yeah, I would. I think the word sociopath is going to get more popular in the next few years, because Trump trash are revealing themselves to be sociopaths. And I also describe it too. When I describe them as overgrown children, I did this on the Gen Z podcast, Gen Z Speaks podcast, where if conservatives are psychologically speaking overgrown children, as I claim that they are, that's consistent with American exceptionalism being American narcissism, in that children are understandably narcissists, right? They can't survive without the help of adults. They literally cannot live without the help of people that are older than them.
Yes.
So they have to kind of use their skills of manipulation, and if their parents don't do a good job, whatever, to try to like get more of what they want.
Yes.
If you don't have the education, if you don't have the life experience, that in preferably international travel, that kind of thing, to transcend the ignorance of that upbringing, you will stay a child, and your citizenship becomes a source of narcissism if you're a fucking Republican. Because, you know, this whole thing of the cruelty is the point, right? Like them, I'm forcing them to lose. It's not even so much about me winning. I'm denying them the ability to win, and that feels just as good, if not better.
Yeah, exactly. Super competitive.
Yeah, well, that's because they have better training for citizenship. They take your in the UK, they train you to be better citizens in your educational system. It's a big reason why the British actors do so well in Hollywood, is because there's better training. The American actors a lot of times will show up and think that if they're just good looking enough, they're going to get the part. Whereas the, you know, British actors are almost always, you know, impeccable in their preparation. So that's a huge generalization, but it's true.
I didn't have time to bring it up earlier, but you brought up that movie Downfall, about like Hitler and whatnot. And I looked up earlier. I left the tab open for it, and I realized like I haven't seen the movie, but there's one scene in the movie that I have seen a clip of like time and time again, and that is
Hitler freaking out and saying, like,
yes,
going crazy.
that attack was an order, and like he realized like the war was lost like in that moment. I just realized it's actually free to watch on YouTube, so I know what I'm watching tonight.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's very dark. Don't try to watch it with someone if you can. It's a lot of suicides.
Nobody to watch anything with anymore right now, actually.
So yeah, man, it's exciting. I'm doing a lot of work for it. I'm networking my ass off and coming up with a big game plan. I think I'm going to try to go after college Democrats all over my interested area. And
hell yeah,
just start talking about, you know, Bernie 2.0, right? The platform. This is another thing that's advantageous for progressives, is we have someone upon whom we can build an intellectual foundation, and that's Bernie's campaign.
Yeah.
But yeah, talking to local Democrats, man, this divide between neoliberals and progressives has really got to get bridged. And it's time for the neoliberals to kind of give us a chance at leadership, because they've been in charge since 92 and the results speak for themselves.
Yeah. Honestly. Yeah. It's time for the old guard to hang it up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to go in. I'm going to talk shit about Nancy Pelosi. I'm going to talk shit about Chuck Schumer. I'm going to talk shit about Hakeem Jeffries. Like, if these people want to stick around and learn from me, that's cool. But if they're not going to apply what I know to be effective strategic competition, then I'm not interested in adhering to what they think I should do as a political figure. I'm going out, like, you know, if I have a saying, it's going to be like from Tony Montana. Remember that movie Scarface? With Tony Montana said, all I got is my word and my balls, and I don't break neither for nobody. I was going to say, I want to be the Tony Montana of politics. All I got is my word and my balls.
Hell yeah.
I don't break neither for nobody. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think. And that's a little bit of humility there too. It's like, I'm not smart enough to lie to you and bullshit you and still continue to do this. I don't have the energy for it. I don't have like the skills to pull that kind of campaign off. The only way I'm going to do this is by being myself And if I lose being myself, then that's fine. Then somebody else will learn from me and do it closer to the way I did it, and will recognize that going on offense means calling the white trash bullies white trash Nazis.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Enough.
Yeah.
Enough. Stop respecting them. It's the respect that's the problem. There's that saying in the UK, Tracy Eva, where in soccer, football, that if you're a fan, it's the hope that kills you. People might remember that from Ted Lasso. And in America, in our political discourse, I would argue it's the respect that kills you. Stop respecting MAGA. Stop acting as if, and that's my preaching. That's me not talking to progressives now. Now I'm talking to neoliberals. I'm talking to anti-Trump Republicans, people, fence sitters, people who don't like either party. Stop respecting them. We cannot get anything good done until they are out of the room, which means politically irrelevant. These are not, another thing that would be a central message is bipartisanship is dead. Look at the results of bipartisanship. Look at the results of bipartisanship. This is insanity. This is the alcoholic's definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. No, we need a political counter revolution, because this is revolution. It's just not the one we thought.
Yeah.
This is revolution. What's happening right now? It's being, the rebellion is in power.
Yeah. Megan even said in a previous stream, I didn't get to her comment about it, but it was something along the lines of like, I mean, revolutions, people die. As I mean, it's to be expected. I mean, like, like if you believe in something strongly and you just see so much injustice and not anything, nothing's being done to it on a bold enough on on a systemic level, it's blood is going to be shed. Like it's history, honestly, and it's like there are varying degrees of like what a revolution entails, obviously, but like they're like the window is shrinking right now. It's like when it came down to say Bernie and Biden in 2020, there were a lot of lefties online that were like Bernie or busters, because it came down to like, okay, Bernie's not going to get the nomination for the Democratic ticket. There are a lot of disaffected Bernie supporters that were like, well, I'm not going to support Joe Biden, and a lot of them were in the camp of they prefer revolution over reformation. And it's like,
sure,
would you rather have would you rather work within the confines of the system, or would you just like throw away the system?
Right.
Yeah, or throw away the system entirely? And like most people, myself included, wanted to work within the system because you could probably like get someone in there that can reform it within. Revolutions aren't so successful, and like the biggest thing that got me was the question of, if a revolution were to take place today, as in back then, would it be a socialist revolution or would it be a fascist revolution? Who would be the primary benefactors?
Well, you're seeing
of
it's
said
a fascist revolution right now.
No, yeah, but I'm talking about like back then. But
back then,
yeah, the Bernie and Biden 2020 election and shit. Who would benefit more? And like even back then, I realized like, well, obviously the fascists are going to benefit more. The system is more built to withstand a fascist revolution, because honestly, like a lot of power, a lot of money, like it can benefit from fascism. It can't benefit from socialism. And that was the biggest thing because socialism actually threatens power. Like socialism actually undermines money and capital and shit, like by definition. And so of course, like if a revolution were to take place, it would almost like be a certain guarantee by all sorts of string pulling and shit that the fascist ideology would take supremacy in a case such as that.
Tracy Eva says, in my trade union days when I was out organizing a strike, I would tell people who were hesitating, lead, follow, or get the fuck out of our way.
Yeah.
Tracy.
Yeah.
We need
Speaking
you here
our
in
language.
America. You got to come run my campaign.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it really is that simple. Like, I thought that I was going to have to learn how to adapt if I was going to be in a role in public service, because I've always thought about running for office. But no, I'm just going to be myself because I know the enemy as well as anyone, and I know what's required to beat them. And now, since Bernie came along, I know the Democratic Party as well as anyone too. And because it's not complicated, it's really not. It's driven by fundraising, and it's driven by people who are put into positions of power for their ability to do favors, not to catalyze change. And the neoliberals keep saying, I was talking with someone, a Democrat, and I couldn't figure out whether or not she was neoliberal or progressive. And I said, can you tell me the difference between, or what is in your opinion, the difference between neoliberal and progressive? And she found that question insulting. And I said, well, it's a pretty basic question that most people don't have an answer to. I was talking to another guy today who didn't know the answer. And that's why I'm trying to get specific with it. And it's neoliberals advocate for incremental change, whereas progressives advocate for structural change.
Yeah.
And if you can win that argument, then I think you can get more people than ever have to vote progressive in Democratic Party primaries.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm just, yes, you can be ruthless. I have no idea. Great. Fantastic. But that's kind of the most important dichotomy. That's step one in getting people to open up to my message of like, because it's not good enough to be just like, okay, I'm going to be the guy that says I'm going to call them white trash Nazis and Trump white trash Hitler and Elon Goebbels and all this shit. You got to say, well, okay, why not just you, but why progressives all over the countries? And it's because all over the country. And the answer is because they are superior political athletes to neoliberal DNC establishment figures.
Yes. Let alone their voters. Yeah.
And that's really the thing is progressives are, now that's me trying to take my personality to the progressives and say, your symbol can no longer be a peace dove. Okay. I got a new symbol for you, and it's going to be a weapon of some kind. I've already got it made, and it's going to be a weapon. And that's because that's what's required. Like, no more Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah.
Like, do you want a nice nominee? And probably who, even if he wins or she wins, gets into office and just does a little bit here and there, tweaks around the edges? Or do you want someone who doesn't apologize, doesn't kiss your ass for their vote, and says, I'm going to go in and do what's required because I know what's required. And I know you're a kind and gentle person. I'm not asking you to change. I'm just asking you to change the type of person that you vote for.
Yeah.
This is not about, coming from an impoverished background anymore. This is not about being the right kind of minority or a woman or any of that shit. This is about teaching the Democratic Party how to compete.
Yeah. Yeah. Bingo.
Whether we like it or not, we got to win the game with the way the rules are written today. I didn't write the rules, but the more in denial about why Kamala lost we are, the more we're going to continue to lose. Because she didn't just lose because we're still a sexist and racist country. Even though that's true, she still only lost by 1.5% in the popular vote.
Yeah. Yeah.
She could have won.
She
could have won.
Yeah. There's still some MAGA morons that don't even believe that. Like, I had to remind them, it's like, no, like, Trump didn't win by millions of votes. It wasn't overwhelming. Here are the actual results. It was only 1.5%. No, Trump doesn't have a mandate. Like, he won by one of the slimmest majorities in presidential election history. And so we should treat it like that.
Yeah. Well, that's it for me for tonight, man, because I just haven't been reading up on the news, but I'm down to talk about anything else you want to discuss.
Oh, I think that's it for me as well. I might go a little bit longer after we after we end the call, but I do have to use the bathroom real quick.
All right, man. Well, for Stat Pat, Stateless Patriot, I am Diener McBusiness, reminding you that you don't get change in America by asking nicely. Stay tuned. Big announcement coming up April 9th. That's the big date. Please find me on Blue Sky. I talk to fans all the time. Spread the word. April 9th is the big day, and there's a reason why it's April 9th. See if you can figure out why. Thank you very much, guys, and Stat Pat, enjoy the rest of your stream.
For sure. You guys have a good night. For sure. Have a good night, dude. All right. There's still a few of you guys watching. I will be right back. Just give me a couple minutes. All right. Megan, are you still here? Make yourself known. You've been quiet for the past half hour. Hi. Why have you been so quiet? Were our conversations about family life and whatnot getting a bit too deep? Or something? Making food? Oh. Okay. Well, I got that fucking Tulsi Gabbard clip that you linked me. Homemade chow mein. Ooh. Oh boy. Damn, Medicaid is trending hella on X right now. 258,000 tweets. People are probably not fucking happy about that. All right. That's weird. Huh. Oh. Interesting. All right. What's this fucking Russian asset? Fucking Hindu nationalists got to say. Fucking sellout.
Well, Jesse, what we're going to do has already been done. There are over 100 people from across the intelligence community that contributed to and participated in this, what is really just an egregious violation of trust. What to speak of like basic rules and standards around professionalism. I put out a directive today that they all will be terminated and their security clearances will be revoked. But the thing here, Jesse, is like, we got to take a step back because this is just barely scratching the surface. When you see what these people were saying, and thanks to Chris Rufo for putting it all out online, they were brazen in using an NSA platform intended for professional use to conduct this kind of really, really horrific behavior. And they were
this kind of horrific behavior, huh? Okay.
brazen in doing this because when was the last time anyone was really held accountable? Certainly not over the last 4 years, certainly not over the last 10, maybe 20 years. And we look.
Okay, but what crimes were being committed? Like what were they doing wrong? Like what? Okay, so it was an NSA server, and so does that mean like it wasn't? Was it susceptible to international interference, or was it just bad? That's a no. Don't do that there. Or like, what's the scope of this?
Look at some of the biggest violations of the American people's trust in the intelligence community. So
they lost their trust, sweetheart. They lost their trust in the intelligence community a long time ago.
Today's action in holding these individuals accountable is just the beginning of what we're seeing across the Trump administration, which is carrying out
Free my NSA secret sex chatters.
The mandate the American people gave him. Clean house, root out that rot and corruption and weaponization and politicization.
What does that have to do with the sex chat? What?
House, root out that rot and corruption and weaponization and politicization.
Corruption, politicization, weaponization of people getting freaky deaky in a secret sex chat room.
So we can start to rebuild that trust in these institutions that are charged with an important mission of serving the American people, ensuring our safety, security, and freedom.
I feel like I feel like I'm missing so much. I feel like there's so much more to that. Gotta read the chats. All right. Do you participate in as chat rooms and workplace through work server? I don't participate in not safe for work chat rooms at all. Yeah, I guess doing it through your work server is not ideal. That's definitely a big no. But I guess it depends on like if the higher ups say if they're involved with it or not. I don't fucking know. I'm being facetious, obviously, but yeah, I guess that's newsworthy. I don't know. Let people be freaks. Whatever. I mean, like, yeah, don't do it. Don't do it on an NSA server. I mean, that should be that should be like a no-brainer to fucking those involved. So I have no idea why they would risk themselves like that, I guess you could say. Okay, what are these? Okay, so you said read the chats, like to the tweet. Do you think it's appropriate to do through communications? No, I don't. So I mean, I'm being goofy, but be freaks private though. Not yes, should be the right. Yes, yes. Server chats have been released. You want to link those? Show me what you got. All right. What did the chat say? I mean, the reply is to Charlie Kirk. They no longer have the security was appointed being employed by the National Security Agency. Good, yeah. All right. Bunch of dick riding Tulsi. This is having a secret session. Of course, yeah. This gets you fired. Fuck off. They were going to give away national secrets? Okay. Yeah, hey, what are you wearing? By the way, here's a national security secret. These agencies. But she's helping block the release of the Epstein files. Okay. These chats aren't very interesting at all. These replies. Is there? Am I missing something? Whatever. Chris Rufo.
Is just the beginning of what we're seeing across the Trump administration.
Shut up. As Tulsi says in vid. Huh?
Well, Jesse, what we're going to do has already been done. There are over 100 people from across the intelligence community that contributed to and participated in this, what is really just an egregious violation of trust. What to speak of, like basic rules and standards around professionalism. I put out a directive today that they all will be terminated and their security clearances.
All right. Oh. What? Here. Exclusive. Oh. 27 million views exclusive Grossman hand and obtained logs from it's a secret transgender sex chat room in which NSA, CIA, and DIA employees discussed genital castration, artificial vaginas, piss fetishes, sex polycules, and gangbangs, all on government time. I mean, okay. Do it in a non-NSA chat room then? Like, do it on government time all you fucking want. Who cares? But maintains a chat system for the intelligence community called Intel Link. The servers are supposed to be used for government work. The gender activists have hijacked. Gender activists. The fuck does that mean? Have hijacked at least 2 channels, LBTQA, okay, and IC Pride TWG to discuss fetishes, kink, and sex, all legitimized as DEI. Okay, according to sources, I said legitimized by according to our sources, huh? The sex chats were legitimized as part of diversity, equity, and inclusion. legitimize, but you just said that. Okay, you just said that the channels were hijacked. So was it legitimate? Were they legitimized or were they hijacked? Anyway, activists within the agency use LGBTQ plus employee resource groups to turn their kinks and pathologies to official work duties. Are you sure they just weren't fucking horny? Employee. This group spent all day recruiting activists and holding meetings with titles such as privilege, ally awareness, pride, transgender community inclusion, and they did so with the full support of the city leadership. Okay. Which declared that DEI was not only mission critical but mission imperative. Okay, I'm failing to see what DEI has to do with any of this so far. Okay, all right, fine. Okay, right. Okay, yeah, I'm not reading through all this. It's too much. Thanks for keeping me on track. This is the kind of wholesome behavior Americans have sadly come to expect from the government. National Sex Chat Agency. Okay. All right. I just want to point out that polycule is absolutely disgusting. Loser. Well, I didn't have that on my bingo card. Okay. Should be surprised more about what. Explain transphobia with clicks. Yeah, this is a good point. Employees were goofing during office hours in the chat room. That gains the clicks. Yeah. No. I mean, in an NSA chat room, would be more accurate. But chatting about trans stuff in the chat room, yeah. No, yeah. That's actually a good point. Gutter journalism. Expectations were low, but sheesh. Nothing compared to because on the Southern Baptist Convention, really now mild comparatively. Interesting. Gay Spanish politician with left-wing governing party resigned after photos circulate showing him eating his own feces. God, isn't this just the most fucking like typical shit ever? What the hell is going on with the radical left? Anti-woke memes. God. Enjoy your grift, bud. All right. Done with that. Oh, this guy. Actual chat. What? Okay. Chat logs. All right. You mean the thing that I stopped reading and I just scrolled past entirely because you said read the chats, not the com. Okay. You should have been a bit more specific. I didn't know that what was linked here were actual chats. I thought you were talking about the actual like responses to the tweet. I'm sorry. Cheers, I guess. Don't be disappointed in me. It'll make me cry. Let's see. These are from over 2 years ago. I mean, honestly, the rest is nice too. Wearing panties without worrying about anything showing, seeing my reflection in the mirror, wearing leggings, etc. But the pee thing is something I never thought of, but it's really nice. Megan, why are you having me read these? Is this just like smut? You just want me to read smut on stream? You you dog. Laser butt hair removal. That sounds nice. I found that I liked being penetrated. Okay. Having to fly to Thailand, pay out of pocket. What? Jesus Lord. Okay, it's just like it's just trans smut. Just talk about girl dick and girl and boy tits and fucking peeing. What fascinates you about this in particular, Megan? Of course I agree. I didn't doubt you for a second. This isn't gonna make me. This isn't gonna give me a hard on, is it? Next time it's gonna give me one tits one way or another. Best from battle, I won't force you back. Look, I just enjoy helping other people experience boobs. These are nice people. They get it. All right, bit more recent here. My friend went from they them to it's. It took me a while. They really it's kind of crazy how they highlight certain like particular fucking sentences incredibly base. Just a bunch of dorks. Just a bunch of horny government employee dorks. It's just a goddamn. It's just a shame they're all going to be, swept up in all this fucking anti-trans shit. You can't even have their proper fucking gender on their passports if they don't get denied a passport to begin with. Triple bond, double bonds, triple. It's just polycules. And they probably save a lot on rent. After the first chat, what are you talking about? I read like fucking most of it. It's probably okay that they're firing these people. Yeah, I mean, I could agree with that. Do you think the highlights are irrelevant? No, I think they're the most relevant parts, judging by like what I was able to read. Shame people horny posting their work accounts going to be swept up. No, it's a shame that fucking trans people are being swept up in the Trump administration's crackdown on trans people in general. Like they're being incentivized to not identify as their true selves. They can't get passports. They have to fucking have the gender that they were assigned at birth on their licenses and passports and shit. Like, there's no point to that. It's just fucking cruelty for cruelty's sake. It's actually pretty bad. The trans people are being federally erased. Like Stonewall, for example. Fucking Stonewall would not have happened without queer black trans women. It's just revisionist history at the hands of the Trump administration. That's the most disgusting thing about it. Do you think there's a difference between being trans and talking about penetration? Yes, obviously there is. But I'm just saying that it's a shame that these people still have to deal with being discriminated against by the federal government. Do you think having sex changes and passports helps G and gender nonconforming people visiting other countries? I mean, that's the point of a passport, yes, but like, it's degrading to force them to list their gender on their passport as the gender that they no longer identify with. It's like it degrading by definition. Differing laws based on sex. I doubt the trans people or gender non-conforming people want to visit countries that are less inclined to be accepting of them as they are. The story about teen girls felt up in Egypt because they thought she might be a boy. What? She has short hair. Well, that's was it a were they was it a trans girl? I what? Absolutely wild. I mean, like if I was gender nonconforming, if I was trans, I wouldn't want to go to fucking Egypt. Like, period. You know, for the UK with sex changes on passports, not trans, then I mean, if they were a cis teen girl, yeah, I'm not saying gender nonconforming is trans, but the same logic applies. So it was a cis teen girl. They were felt up in Egypt because they thought she might be a boy. I don't know what that has to do with their passport. I think. Anyway. What else did you fucking send me on X? You know I don't like you going on X. Okay. Egyptian agents, because UK allows people to change. So she was felt up by agents because the UK allows people to change the sex on their passport. So Fafagirl was trans. I mean, that's on Egypt, honestly. Despite female on passport, that's entirely on Egypt. That's not on the girl. That's not on who gives out the passports. That's not on UK, because that shit happens all the fucking time. There's the fucking the video that that black lady who was like, she had the fucking cops called on her here in America because some fucking stupid woman thought that like she was trans or some shit. And she's just like had short hair and was very masculine. Please show up in the fucking bathroom, like interrogating her and shit. It's fucking stupid. Yes, I understand. I understand that. All right, it's just this funny ass thing that you sent me. Come on. One of our community members sent this to OPM. Hi, wanted to email what I did last week in detail. Please let me know if you need more information. Suck the biggest dick. Seriously, it was 12.3 inches I measured. Got fucked by said dick. Best sex of my life, and will be going back for more. Bless. In a man's ass, but he said he wasn't gay, so it's fine. Decided to fuck myself with your bullshit game. Seriously, sincerely, go fuck yourself. Now that is how you respond to OPM. That is based. God damn it, dude. You can't read the government chats. Do you want me to read the whole thing? Like the entire dirty chats between those government employees? There's maybe 5 for that email. Oh, well, I would need evidence that this email was sent by an employee. Because that that HR at opm.com email or .org or .gov or whatever the fuck email, that's been public. So HR at opm.gov, which is I assume the email address, is being, I guarantee you right now, inundated with countless emails by people who don't even work for the federal government. Yeah, .gov. That's right. There's one for the other sets as well. That was it. I went through all of them. The last one was fucking this one. The one about polycules. Mine looks like a triple bond with person 2, double bonds person 3 and 4. That was the last one. We went through them. Yeah. Double bonds of P5 and P6 who had a triple between them. Each had a double bond with 2 or 3 other people. Both P5 and I have a double bond with P9. Double bonds with P7 and P8. Triple between them. P2 has bonds with some of the partners reflected as well. I can barely even handle one fucking relationship. Let alone fucking, 9? Jesus Christ. Good for them, though. Able to fucking maintain that kind of shit. Well, I guess I didn't directly link the rest. Megan. What am I going to do with you? What am I going to do with you? Genuinely, that's a genuine question, by the way. All right. They got some really great actual like free movies on YouTube right now. I don't know, maybe not be lazy. Look up the rest. Tell you what, if you I don't know how to look for it on Twitter. If you liked it or shared it or able to come across it, if you're able to link me it, then I'll look at it. Definitely, like the show, the anime, or the in real life. Because I'm watching Death Note right now on Netflix. Just look at Chris. Okay. God. This anime not live ass movie. Okay. You get intel. No good. All right. What in the fuck is this? Big intel. No creeps at the NSA caught fantasizing about having hermaphrodite babies so they could raise them non-binary. I swear, it's like these people just fucking invent problems out of fucking nowhere, dude. Jesus Christ. Like, please get some real problems. Please focus on shit that actually affects people. This obsession with fucking trans people in general, just the queer community, is just like, holy fucking shit, dude. Huh? Radical transgender activists. The only way to expiate his guilt for being born white in America was to set himself on fire for Palestine. Go fuck yourself, you fucking piece of shit. You know, maybe it's because fucking Israel blows up tens of thousands of Palestinian children with our fucking tax dollars. It's not because of some fucking queer disease or some shit, you piece of fucking human garbage. Alright, where is this shit? Alright, is this it? Well, of course, this you saw this because fucking Elon Musk retweeted this shit. Of fucking course. What? These are the exact same thing. Fucking God, I can't even fucking. Oh yeah, I remember when Libs of TikTok was suspended. That was a fucking one of the greatest days in Twitter history. Why is that the only thing highlighted here? Like as if fucking Libs of TikTok is anyone fucking important. She's such a fucking monster. I mean, it's fucking accurate. Fuck you. I mean, Netflix actually has ads now as well, unfortunately. Look at trans acceptance laws and comparable OECD? Huh? Any Jew who says Judeo-Christian without any irony as much as Israel does not. What? Should be expelled from the tribe. Yeah. I mean, nothing that they're saying is wrong. What else is this? Troublesome. Yeah, Tulsi Gabbard is a Russian agent. That's right. Defended Assad's killing of his own people. That's right. She did do that. She did do that. God, fucking Donald Trump Jr. reposting this shit. I don't fucking. Just the worst people giving this fucking guy so much attention. Like, what? This is so. I don't care. I don't care. Canada, UK trans speech laws are low key crazy. What do you mean? Like, what do you mean low key crazy? Like, don't demean them. Don't, you know. My Netflix. I use my brother's Netflix. Jail for misgendering. I think that is literally a lie. Can you go to jail in Canada for misgendering? No, you cannot go to jail in Canada for using the wrong gender pronouns. Misusing gender pronouns is not a criminal offense in Canada. Yeah, I've known this since 2018. It literally, yeah, it literally says right. Hold on. Let's see here. Yes. Not real news. No jail in Canada for misusing gender pronouns. I remember back in the day when I used to watch Armored Skeptic. And this is back when fucking Jordan Peterson started getting a name for himself over fucking refusing to use the gender pronouns and shit. All it came down to was like the college reprimanding him and shit, and all of a sudden he has a giant career out of this fucking shit. But Armored Skeptic spread this lie around, and then Logic, another skeptic channel who still puts out great atheist videos and anti-religion like debunking videos to this day. He's still really great. Responded to Armored Skeptic's video because they're both Canadian. Saying, this is a lie. You're full of shit. You're falling for right-wing propaganda. This is wrong, and here's why. It made like a whole ass video explaining why why this idea exists and how in Canada, like, no, you're not going to go to jail just for misgendering someone. So no. Fines for not waxing balls. That's also a lie. That I know exactly what you're referring to, and that's not even true either. I know. I remember those videos back from fucking 2018, 2019 as well, and Blair White covered them as well. Someone that got rejected service for being super rude to this salon or whatever the fuck. It had nothing to do with. No, it was a service that they didn't provide. It had nothing to do with the government. Successfully misusing it. If you can find something like no. What is OECD? Into jail in UK for misgendering. No, in the UK you cannot generally go to jail for simply misgendering someone. Okay, we're getting a little bit more wiggle room here. All right, fucking give me this. The Crown Prosecution Service, what a fucking name that is, does not recognize misgendering as a criminal offense. However, if the act of misgendering is considered part of a wider pattern of harassment or hate crime directed at someone's transgender identity, it could be used as evidence to support a criminal charge. Okay. That sounds reasonable. Like, who's that bitch in Congress right now? Nancy Mace or whatever. That's just out on the fucking like House floor yelling tranny to like the one single Delawarean trans congresswoman or whatever the fuck. It's like, yeah, like if it's part of a larger pattern of harassment, then yeah, fucking bring them up on charges. Like fucking make a case against them. Like these people are fucking scumbags. All right. Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Okay. Generally goes to jail. So you see, create prosecution services. Yeah, harassment is loose as well. Well, I mean, maybe this is low key too much. Low key, more like high key. She said she got raped though, so I kind of reacting on trauma. No. Like, isn't this exactly like what fucking J.K. Rowling tried to say? And now she's like the biggest like anti-trans crusader that there is. Like, she wakes up every single day and tweets about how fucking dangerous trans women are or some shit like that. It's an excuse. Like, these people just use trans people as a scapegoat because they're pieces of shit. These people are pieces of shit. I don't know much about it either, but I think that's where it stems from. Like, I don't know if it's exactly like sexual assault per se, but either way, like legitimate or not, that's the veil that these transphobic people hide behind. Like they try to make like, oh, they're lurking in our bathrooms and shit. It's just like, no, there's just paranoid bigots. They prey on people's fear because bathrooms are a place of like vulnerability for like a fucking reason, obviously. And so they weaponize that fear to fuel their bigotry, and they get a lot of like it just contributes to their anti-trans rhetoric. And that's why they have such big fucking anti-trans followings. That's why all this propaganda has been circulating over the past several years. That's why Libs of TikTok is so fucking big, because all she does is fucking crusade against anything even remotely trans related. Like, this is like their driving factor. This is what gets them up in the morning. This is what makes them money. Because they make a fucking lot of money off of this shit. Off of being bigots. And now it's reached a federal level. A federal level. The executive branch signing executive orders saying, like, America only recognizes two genders, male and female. Donald Trump threatening a state, the state of Maine, saying, hey, you can't have trans people participating in sports and shit. It's just like, wow, how, like, in school and whatnot. It's like, how many people does that exactly affect again? There's way too much energy being devoted to this shit. There's no reason for it other than fucking bigotry, otherizing people, fear mongering. I'm so tired of it. Like, it's exhausting. Mace had police reports and stuff, if I remember correctly. It still doesn't justify. I think women who have been sexually assaulted by men can be afraid of. Yeah, be afraid of men. Trans women are not men. I think the anti-trans movement started because people said misgendering is violence. People say shit all the time. It's like, come on. Like, So some crazies are going to act out and say something stupid like this, and all of a sudden, like, rejecting an entire group of people's identity is like now part of your ideology. It doesn't check out. That doesn't pass the sniff test. It never has. Men and women's sports are asking me trans does it affect or how many people told trans athletes specifically is what I was referring to. Like Trump's threatening to withhold federal funds from Maine if they don't change their policy on allowing trans athletes to compete in whatever sport they identify with in terms of their gender. Excuse me. And Maine's governor's like, no, fuck you. I'll just, I'll remove all federal income tax from every paycheck that's given out in the state of Maine. You want to play this game? That's how you fucking do it. That I should have brought that up to fucking Dieter, honestly, earlier on the stream. Like, that is how you as a Democrat fight back against this fucking vile bullshit coming out of MAGA and from Trump in general. I'm sorry, but yes, hormones and chromosomes confer certain anatomical results that are unequal if you go by standard sexual dimorphism. The thing about that, though, Megan. Yes, I understand. The thing about that, though, is in schools, yeah, it's different, but like the higher you go up through the ranks of like competing in sports in general, like even past high school, you still have to pass certain tests, and you still have to have a certain amount of estrogen or testosterone to apply or qualify in certain fields, in certain whatever sport you're going into. You still have to pass certain tests, and if like your testosterone is above a certain amount, then you can't compete in this particular sport. So there's nuances to it. Like you can't just be like fucking looking like Hulk Hogan and identify as a woman and compete in a fucking women's sport. Like it doesn't work like that. And a lot of anti-trans bigots that are just giant grifters online that fucking make a living off this, that perpetuate this propaganda, they either neglect to understand that the fact that these tests are in place, or they just conveniently ignore it so they can keep milking this fear mongering and this propaganda because they're captured by their audience who expects that propaganda from them on a daily basis, cherry picking examples and feeding them this bullshit. So more than the difference affect like performance. Yeah. Trans test levels regulate at 5 times standard women's levels. What does that mean? What do you mean? Where are you getting that from? Jesus. Oh my lord. 9:20. I don't know what I'm gonna fucking do the next few days. I need to be making money. I'm so upset. I hate to say it, but I'd literally rather be working. $15 nanograms a milliliter versus 5 nanograms a milliliter for cis women. Of what? Testosterone? in trans women versus cis women? The regulation maximums. So you're telling me that when it comes to women's sports at any level, they keep it set high. So because intersex women, okay, but you're saying that it is okay for trans women to qualify within a margin that is 10 times higher of bodily testosterone than it is for cis women. Like that's the regulation. Like they like if you're within that, if you're within those confines, like you can qualify for participation in women's sports. That doesn't sound right to me. Shush. Sorry, I'm on YouTube. Accessory regulation. Standard for men is like 350. Okay, at what level though? Are we talking like Olympics, or just like sports in general? Then suppressed down below 20, they get severe health consequences. Sex women can range above 45. Okay. So where is all this information coming from? So just so I'm clear, here. When it comes to women's sports, you can't have above, if you're a trans woman, specifically a trans woman or an intersex woman, you can't have above 50 nanograms per milliliter of testosterone in your body, and you can qualify. If you're a cis woman, you can't have above 5 nanograms per milliliter, and you qualify to participate in that sport. Like, am I right in that assessment? Is that well? Help me learn here. Trans people sports generally sketchy. I mean, it could be. Not for everyone, because you can't discriminate based on sex. Oh, okay. So like cis women average around 5, but like trans women have to come below 50. Okay. I don't know. I mean, testosterone in general doesn't exactly determine your athletic ability anyway. So I mean, I don't get it. So as long as they come below 50 nanograms, it's fine, right? Well, what should be done? Should that threshold be lowered from 50? Like, what exactly is people's problem other than like, trans people exist and they might want to play sports? I see. They can go up to 50. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know. People put too much stock and energy into this, honestly. Okay. That sounds fair to me. That I don't have an issue with that at all. But the thing is, all the people, like, if that's the standard, and like that's been the standard, and everybody agrees on it, that's involved in this shit. I don't expect for a second that all on HRT, trans women in sports on HRT must be under 50. Is that what you're saying? Either way, I don't expect all the propagandists who constantly spout fucking anti-trans rhetoric and shit, and all this fear mongering about trans women in sports. I don't expect them to actually like go into detail about how, okay, well, as long as they're under 50 nanograms, they're fine. They just don't want them participating in sports in general. I don't expect these kind of people to be nuanced about it at all. Like we even saw with like what was that like that boxer from Algeria or whatever. Everyone trying to claim that she was trans or whatever. I think she was like intersex. It's like she qualified. She was beneath the threshold. So it's like this is my thing. Like they will stop at nothing until trans people are erased. All these people, all these personalities, all these accounts, all these channels online, they don't care about nuance. Nuance is not part of their model. It's not in their business model. They simply strive for trans erasure, and they're starting to get it. The executive branch, not only like there's only two genders, male and female, and also they can't participate in the sports they want, and also they have to change their government identity, the fucking passports and shit. Like you have to identify as the gender that you were assigned at birth and shit. And then what? It's like you want to erase them from existence, and then who's going to be your next scapegoat? What did these people do to you? Why are they being targeted at a federal level? What harm have they actually done? They just want to exist. Yet sports is just this crutch because all these people are so competitive natured, because that's our society. This is our capitalist society. You got to make money. You got to fucking outcompete this channel or that channel or whatever the fuck. You got to be more flashy. You got to be more sensationalist. You got to get more clicks. You got to get more reacts. You got to get more likes. You got to get more comments. You got to get more followers. You got to get more subscribers. So of course they're going to fucking like be super fear-mongery about those strange trans people. Yeah, I made a video about her back when back when all that shit happened. Muslim country no hijab. At least us. I don't know. Maybe Algeria is somewhat kind of okay. I don't know. Shrug. Not being targeted, not being given exemptions. They're being targeted. They're being targeted. Is it targeted to note someone violating sex-based protections? Huh? I know. That's why I said I don't know. Shrug. Maybe they might be chill. No, of course. Like, they're not very chill. Not many, if any, Muslim countries are. Change from one issue to turn. Title 9 was original. What's Title 9? What's that? Enlighten me. God damn. What have I been drinking? This has a name. I actually looked it up. Oh, my phone's dead. Sex-based protections. I mean, I guess it depends on who you are, because a lot of people conflate sex with gender. Making me look up Title 9. Title 9 is a federal law that prohibits sex-based discrimination in education programs that receive federal funding. Excuse me. It applies to all students, faculty, and staff regardless of gender identity, expression, or sex. So I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say that falls under the umbrella of Title 9. All right, do I still have this thing up in my browser? Our 12 best Jägermeister cocktails and shots. Okay. Yeah, it was this one. It was called, according to The Spruce Eats, Fuzzy Jaeger Cranberry. Yeah, it's a combination of Jaeger, peach schnapps, and cranberry juice, like an adult version of Kool-Aid. It will give you a sweet shock. Yeah. Yeah, okay, all right. Okay, you really do. You fucking brat. You fucking little brat. All right. Landmark federal civil rights law. Transgender status. Gender identity under Title 9. Okay. The Obama administration interpreted Title 9 to cover discrimination on the basis of assigned sex, gender identity, and transgender status. God, there's been so much litigation about this shit. Trump administration determined that the question of access to sex-segregated facilities should be left to the states and local school districts to decide. Okay, so why the fuck is he going after Maine? Why is he threatening them? The validity of the executive's position is being tested in the federal courts. That's fucking fun. That's encouraging. Okay. Yeah, they're really just trying super hard to make like trans people exempt from Title IX protections because I don't know, because fuck them. They're icky. I don't fucking know. Too much sugar? Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to be feeling good in the morning. Is like that holds water. I mean, very few things in government really hold water anymore, especially legally. Like, this administration is taking the fucking blowtorch to everything. I'll just read the wording of the bill. It's okay. No person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. Yeah. Yeah, no, that I would say that 100% applies to gender. So sex, not gender. Okay, so female sex has been historically. Yes, I understand that and I agree with that. On June 16th, 2021, the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights issued a notice of interpretation explaining that it will enforce Title IX's prohibition on discrimination on the basis of sex to include 1. Discrimination based on sexual orientation, and 2. Discrimination based on gender identity. All right. Well, there's a review here with an executive order. I'm going to look up this executive order right here. Yep. A fucking goddamn course. All right. So, Executive Order 14021, guaranteeing an educational environment free from discrimination on the basis of sex, including sexual orientation or gender identity, which was signed by President Biden, which was fucking base of him to do, was just rescinded by fucking goddamn President Donald Trump, January 24th, 2025. So I don't give half a flying motherfuck what Donald Trump says. I think it falls under Title IX. I think there should be no dispute about that, whatever. Especially if the fucking goddamn Republicans and the conservatives are conveniently conflate sex and gender. Like they consistently conflate the two. They understand that like sex is biological, gender is a spectrum. Gender is a social construct. Like who is this for? Who does this benefit? What does repealing this fucking executive order who does it actually benefit? It's just fucking targeting people based on their gender. There's no other way around it. Like how would conflation help them? Like them conflating sex and gender? Because they constantly say that like it's biological and like there's no changing biology. Whereas sex is not whereas gender is not biological. Like gender has always been a social construct. It's always been an expression. Its benefits AFABs don't get skull fractures? Huh? I don't know what you mean. I don't know. There's still no point to it. There's literally zero fucking point to it whatsoever. It's just to target trans people because they're an easy fucking target. And like it's the cash cow of so fucking many hardcore conservatives. I think conservatives recognize better than those difference between. I have no idea what the literal fuck you're talking about, Megan. I have no idea where you can possibly get that idea from. I'm genuinely at a loss that you actually just said that right now. Skull fracturing college volleyball match against trans woman. Did the trans woman spike the volleyball too hard into her fucking skull or what? Oh shit. Yeah, for real? Like that actually fucking happened? Okay, I mean, get good. I mean, it's a shame, I guess. I don't know. Serves as the social role of the female with sex and social roles affected by physical body. What? Okay, what does that have to do with gender? Like, how is that? How does that demonstrate to me the social role of gender? Yeah, it is kind of fucked, but like, are you telling me that cis women have never fucking fractured the skulls of other cis women in volleyball? Like, what is a woman? A woman is a social cultural designation typically applied to females upon birth that can be adopted or rejected at anyone's own individual discretion. Yeah, I mean, libs can't answer that, but fucking progressives can. I just fucking did. So how do you amend Title IX? Oh, signed into law by Nixon. Wow. Feminist Nixon. I don't know. I'm starting to think that women kind of suck. Why I say conservatives better understand gender? I mean, they can answer questions like, "What is woman?" The answer with how I agree. Oh God, tell me about it, dude. No, well, conservatives answer that question with sex, the female sex, which, okay, so sex is gender, right? Or gender is sex. Progressives, we conservatives, just 5% better. As weak as you got to type a little bit bigger, sweetheart. Type a little bit better. No, they don't. No, they don't. They straw man the lefty position, and then they knock down that straw man. That's how it's always been. What is gender? Gender is a spectrum. A spectrum of identity is associated with biological sex. Typically it's associated with like two, what the fuck you call it, polars. Social definition, social role of a given sex. Okay, yeah, but so gender roles. Okay. So they believe that if you're a certain sex, you should ascribe to certain gender roles. Okay. Agreeing with what? I'm not agreeing with anything. Conservatives argue gender is influenced by a physical body. Largely, yeah. I would say that's accurate as well, but it doesn't have to be. And if it's not, like if someone decides or feels like, oh no, this isn't me, this isn't how I was born, I have the mind of a woman, but I'm born in a male's body. Like, who the fuck is anyone to not only disagree with that, but take that away from them. Do you agree? Describe your take well. No, in my experience, no. No, because they think that no, because they largely believe that gender is binary, and it's not. It's just one or the other, and not on the spectrum that varies. Describes it more precisely than that. Yes. Yes. So lefties don't consider gender to be a rigid binary like sex is, and that is the difference. Conservatives do, because they just attribute gender to sex. They believe sex is binary and knowledge gender can be on a spectrum. If you don't I don't know a single goddamn conservative that acknowledges gender can be on a spectrum. Like I have no idea. No, I have no idea what you're talking about. I would love. I mean, okay. I mean, good that they actually recognize reality, I guess. But like, in my experience, that's not even like remotely the case. No, they don't. No, like a lot of conservatives openly mock the idea of gender nonconforming people even existing. Like they can't even wrap their minds around like gender nonconforming to begin with. And again, like if they actually do like acknowledge their existence and shit, why are they conservative? Like why does their ideological makeup suggest that they would support people who would pass policy or support policy being passed that would actively harm gender nonconforming people or trans people in general? Actually, all this relates directly to conflating. They get conflated for a reason. Well, you don't have to agree. Yeah, you do. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not saying that that's impossible. I'm just saying, like, what the fuck is the point? Like, do they think the leopards will not eat their face, or what? Do they support the leopards eating people's faces party? Do you think TERFs exist because gender nonconforming people who know their sex don't appreciate trans arguments? I don't know what you're talking about. Like I don't know what you're trying to say here. Is it that Ariel fucking whatever the fuck her name is? Because that'd be funny as fuck. I don't know why chirps exist to fucking like annoy the annoy the fuck. All right, I'm done. I'm tired.